So having now waited for what feels like a lifetime, we have official announcement from the Polkadot team that Parachains will go live over the coming months. We have the auctions commencing next month, 11th of November, if everything goes to plan. And then the first Parachain will be live on Polkadot by mid-December. So this, of course, has created shockwaves through the crypto ecosystem. This is a big event a lot of people have been waiting for. And of course, we also seen big green candles for not just Polkadot, but also some of its ecosystem plays as well. So if you have not got any Polkadot ready to bond to a crowd loan, time is most certainly running out for you. You should have been prepared for this already. Hopefully you have been, and have got some nice entries earlier this year when it was down in the low single-digit numbers, or maybe even the teens. So in this video, we're going to have a little look at what is coming up for these parachains, some of the ecosystem plays out there, and how this can be very lucrative to actually bond your DOT. So as ever, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications, and to join our private community over on Discord, check out Patreon via the pinned comment below. So the crypto market right now looking kind of healthy. After what we saw, a big uptick in Bitcoin dominance, we've seen Bitcoin hover around 57, 58K, not being able to immediately crack through it. And with that little bit of breathing space, we've seen the alt bounce back a little bit and the dominance actually start to fall. But the story over the last 24 hours is of course down here with a pretty much 17% gain. Polkadot is now over $40. So let's just jump into Polkadot here. Market cap is now 42 billion and it's looking very rosy. So key things to note here that when you are bonding to a parachain, you are going to be locking your tokens up for 2 years. You, along with institutions, other investors, many individuals will be committing their DOT tokens for that period of time. So do take that into consideration. You won't be able to touch them for 2 whole years. Secondly, to this is going to mean a huge supply shock on the market, which you want to consider, because this is likely to actually balloon the price of Polkadot because there will be not a lot actually circulating. If we have millions of them locked in parachains, then they can't be on the open market. It's as simple as that. So you kind of want to position yourself with maybe locking some up into some of the crowd loans and keeping some liquid to potentially sell, because if we go on to a big blow off top and Polkadot's up like $300-400, you're going to wish you took some profits. Let's have a little look at the chart here over the last 30 days. We can see a big jump up since this announcement just yesterday. Epic move from $35 up to around 42 there. And we haven't been around this price level for some time. We have to go back all the way to May of this year. So months and months back here. This is the last time that we actually saw the fateful price of $40. Remember, all-time high listed here on CoinGecko, $49.35. We are very close to now breaking that. So clearly this is a momentous thing for Polkadot. These parachains are essentially this ecosystem really coming to life. We're at the infancy of all of this crypto stuff. You have to pinch yourself and remember that this is all very new tech and we are really at the beginning stages of what Polkadot will develop into. So very exciting times here on the horizon. So this was the proposal number 118. First parachain auctions on Polkadot, and this is now executed, as you can see. Check this information out over on polkadot.polkaassembly.io. So essentially, based on performance of parachains on Kusama and the state of audits, the Parity engineering team believes the code for parachains, auctions, and crowd loans is ready for an initial production release. So they've gone through 2 audits here, and everything looks good to go, looks watertight, and we are going to be off to the races very soon. So there will be 2 batches of auctions, the first 5 of which will start on November the 11th. Each will run for 7 days before the next batch will then begin. And this first batch is for batch periods 6 through 13. And that first one, batch 6, is set to begin and go live as a parachain on the 15th of December. So auction start date 11th of November, first parachain 15th of December, as long as everything goes smoothly from here on out in terms of final checks, final audits, all of those things. So of course this could be pushed back, which I think would be quite detrimental to price action as people are very excited right now. But you have to remember that this tech could throw up some unknown unknowns. Over on the Parachains YouTube channel, come and check out this. This is Gavin Wood, the founder of Polkadot, actually going through his keynote speech for the Sub-Zero conference. And it's within this speech he actually first tells us parachains are going to be going live. They're pretty much good to go. He does have a few words of warning in there. Like I've just stated, things can be delayed, but he's fairly confident that we are good to go with the schedule I just showed you. He also goes on to explain how these parachains are different to layer 1 blockchains. They will be unstoppable. These are going to be peer-to-peer networks. They are fully upgradable, making them future-proof. So if new technology comes on the horizon, Polkadot and the parachains can adapt. This is an issue we see with many layer 1s right now. They're too slow to take on new tech. They will be unlimited in nature, as each of these parachains is essentially a shard. What we're moving towards here with Polkadot is pretty much Ethereum 2.0 before 2.0 launches with sharding. And then finally, each of these parachains is feeless. So the parachains themselves don't have to pay to use Polkadot. They just have to bond the DOT tokens. But when we come around to use parachains, I'm sure each of these parachains will have their own token, and there will be some fees associated to us as end users. So I'd highly recommend viewing this just to get your head around what is coming and what makes Polkadot so much different from other layer 1s. He talks about how these high throughput blockchains, such as Solana, for instance, he doesn't name drop them specifically, but we know who he's talking about, how these guys have foregone decentralization for scalability and how this is a problem. You're breaching security by having these central points of failure. And of course, there are regulatory concerns around this as well. So you'll see from watching this that Polkadot is essentially the best alternative to Ethereum that there has been thus far and could well be the blockchain of blockchains. Subsequently, he dropped some alpha. We will have a bridge from Kusama to Polkadot by the end of this year, and then parachain to parachain bridges will be implemented by early 2022. So as Dan Rieser here, the VP of growth over on Acala, says, we're turning the page into the third chapter of crypto history. First came Bitcoin, second came Ethereum, brackets built by Gavin Wood, and third we now have Polkadot, of course, also built by Gavin Wood. So with this knowledge that parachain auctions will begin on November 11th, if you are staking your Polkadot coins within the Polkadot.js wallet, it takes 28 days to unbond them. So you need to do that essentially today. Otherwise, you may miss the first day of auctions. These will run for 7 days. So you've still got a bit of time, but you need to make sure that you start unstaking ASAP. Acala have a full guide on how to unstake your DOT through Polkadot.js on here. Interesting comment here from Trinity. If I'm staking in Kraken, when I unstake, it's already unbonded at that point. And Dan replies, yeah, you don't need to worry. Mostly for people staking on Polkadot.js or something decentralized, it takes 28 days to unstake. So if you're staking on Kraken like I am, there's no unbonding period. They just go immediately to your funding wallet, I believe they call it. So there's no time delay to actually wait for these if you are staking over on Kraken. And you can also bond your DOT directly to the crowd loans over on Kraken. They do take a cut, however. But for many individuals, if you don't like using Polkadot.js or you don't know how to, it may be safer to use a centralized entity like Kraken, who have been around for a long time now. So also a word of warning here from Donny Big Bags. This guy is deep in Kusama and DOT, one of the best people to follow for any information related to both of those ecosystems. He says, do not get wrecked during the DOT auctions. You will be locking your tokens up for 2 years. Obviously bear that in mind as consideration for your own financial situation. And then I will only be using the official Crowdloan module. No teams will be getting my precious DOT tokens directly. I only trust Gav of York, aka Gavin Wood. There is a warning on the DOT Crowdloan page down here, which does say do not transfer any funds directly to a specific account that is not associated to the loan or team. So you may get some scam parachains popping up somewhere that you want to be aware of. But second to this, he's just stating the fact that if any of these Polkadot teams are actually asking you to transfer the tokens directly to them for the period, they shouldn't be doing that. And he goes on down here to say he will be calling any nefarious teams or people who are acting irresponsibly in this manner out and letting the community know that they should not be doing that. So definitely go and give Donny a follow. So here we have the Polkadot ecosystem as an overview. And you can see, of course, Polkadot sitting pretty at the top, then Chainlink and Kusama. So with these projects within the Polkadot ecosystem, if they do go on to get a parachain, it is highly likely that the market cap and thus token price of these goes up quite significantly. We're seeing quite a lot of green numbers across the board here because, of course, this ecosystem is getting a lot of attention right now. So I wouldn't particularly be buying any of these today because we've just seen the first wave of retail FOMO. A lot of people have heard about this. It's been on their radar. You may have even felt the FOMO today. So you're seeing people FOMO in. You don't want to FOMO in. You don't want to buy the green. There will be red days to follow. I'm pretty certain of that. So you may wish to do a little bit of research around any of these that you think these should get a parachain slot, or these look very undervalued for what they actually are going to be delivering and bringing to the overall ecosystem. Some of the ones to really look out for here: Acala Network, very likely to get a slot as a parachain. Sora, again, this one is going to have their own DEX. I think this one could fly as well. Down here, Cross Network, an infrastructure play, and also ChainX, another infrastructure play that could do very well. And then down here we have the likes of Acala Network, the Oracle, and also this one down here, a very low market cap called Pinknode, which has a partnership with Facebook, who are implementing certain things on the Polkadot ecosystem and have used these guys for their infrastructure and API endpoints. So this one having a real run today, 38% in total in the green with a very low market cap. I do think this one will be picked up as this cycle progresses. So just have that one maybe on your radar. So what we saw with the Kusama crowd loans was that people were accurately predicting which ones would get first, second, third auction wins, and so forth. But it's going to be a lot more difficult with the DOT auctions. And this is because this is one of the most universally held assets by institutions. So most institutions hold Polkadot. Polkadot is really, really well funded, and a lot of people have seen this coming. And I think people have bought into the narrative that this is essentially ETH 2.0, and this could be the best layer 1 blockchain that we've seen, or layer 0 blockchain as it is, and it has the real potential to actually be better than Ethereum. Now, I don't want to become too much of a moon boy, but that is the kind of potential of Polkadot, and thus you can see this is held by 19 out of the known institutions, and then second up we have Terra with 13, Oasis with 12, and so on and so forth. But the fact that institutions are holding this one, they're going to have a ton of DOT coins that they can loan to the parachains, and thus they can probably sway the votes. So you're probably not going to do too well in predicting what order the parachains go out. Will it be Acala first, Fala? Will it be A-Star, Moonbeam? Who actually knows? So what you're going to want to do with these is split up your DOT tokens, or at least this is what I'm thinking, split up my DOT tokens into a few batches and then have to put them down during each auction. So say auction number 1, I'll commit 100 DOT tokens to Acala, A-Star, and Moonbeam. So I've had to put 300 down to cover those 3 bases, as I'm not sure which one will actually win. I think it might be Acala, but who actually knows? So there is a little bit of a game to be played around this. And of course, if your selection is not picked as the winner of the auction, you will get your DOT tokens back. So you're not missing out on anything. But if you just go in with the YOLO all of my funds onto Acala, I'm pretty sure this one will be number 1 and the first up. Well, then you've missed an opportunity to bond to another one as well. So do have a little think about that. And then of course, do keep some DOT tokens liquid, because if the price goes up ridiculously, you probably want to sell some and take some profits. Now I'm back over on Kraken here. I don't think you can actually bond to parachains if you're in the US or Australia. They're a little bit strict about who can actually participate, but maybe you can get around that with a VPN. This, of course, is kind of the lazy way to do things, because Kraken will take a cut, but it is going to be stupidly simple to do this as well. So if you've already got your tokens staking on here, you may as well participate through the auctions through here as well. I do know that goes against the ethos of decentralization, but for many people, actually looking after their own wallet is sometimes a bit of a nightmare, and they may well be better off actually doing it through a centralized entity, which is trusted like Kraken. So this is all above board, and we can see through these Kusama crowd loans exactly what was paid out. So for example, this is a Acala on Kusama called Karua, and per KSM token actually bonded to the crowd loan, you received 23.5 Karua back. For Moon River, you got 14.5 per 1 KSM, and for Shiden, you got 15 per 1 KSM. So a Kusama was roughly around $300 at this point. So you put down $300, you got 14.5 mover. That is now currently worth $3,700. So that is a 10x in the actual cost of 1 KSM. And of course, you get that KSM back upon the completion of the parachain slot as well. So it's just opportunity cost that you're missing out. But that one was the huge winner. I don't think we'll see returns like that again. But something like Shiden here, you were getting 15 Shiden, which is roughly worth $70 right now. So for every $300 worth of KSM you put down, you got 70 back in the form of Shiden. That's like a roughly 20% ROI, which is not a bad rate of return. And considering we might be going into like peak parabolic movements towards the end of this year, start of Q1, you may be receiving some tokens here that are going up a lot more than this. So there should be some really healthy returns to be received from the crowd loans, but I would suggest playing it safe and having some allocated to crowd loans and some just kept liquid in your own wallet so that you can take profits effectively and hopefully buy back in a deep bear market and become wealthy for the next cycle. Now, Acala are doing something a little bit different, and this one is actually worth noting here. They're introducing liquid crowd loans. So LC DOT, so Liquid DOT, enables Acala crowd loan participants to receive that Liquid DOT token 1-for-1 for the DOT that they actually lock into the crowd loan. So why wait 2 years for liquidity? Contribute and stay liquid. It's that simple. These guys again did a video on their channel just the other day, and they actually talk about this here. So go and give this a watch as well, as this is a very good way of doing things and ensuring you have your dots liquid still for Acala. So this one for me is definitely worth going that extra step to actually stay liquid here. So this not only means you receive your Acala rewards for bonding, but you're also going to receive 1 LC DOT for every DOT that you bond, and that will be tradable on the Acala Parachain through one of their dexes, and they're going to be building a full DeFi suite of tools here. So it's highly likely you'll be able to actually gain yield on the LC DOT as well. So there's very minimal downsides to doing this. All I see is upside potential for this Liquid DOT token that Acala are bringing out. And this, of course, will help bootstrap Acala's DeFi network as well, because I'm sure everyone will want to get involved with this method. So very ingenious way of doing stuff. In the comments down here, someone actually asked, is this potentially a rug pull? And of course, the answer is no. These parachains are going to be legit. So long as you are looking at legit Polkadot teams, these are all going to be the real deal Holyfield. So a very exciting end of year for Polkadot holders and those gearing up for those parachain auctions. And this could be highly lucrative for all of us and could be a lovely payday as we go into that Christmas period. So it's certainly time to strategize upon how many DOT you want to bond, how many you want to keep liquid, and for which of these projects you actually want to commit to their crowd loans. So I'll leave that up to you guys to actually consider, but I will be bringing out some more Polkadot based videos in the not too distant future. Until then though, please subscribe to the channel if you're new, drop me a comment and a thumbs up down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.